Hi everyone and welcome back to the weekly installment of the Reserve List Top 10. These are the hottest selling cards on the Reserve List this week, February 22nd to March 1st of 2025, and the numbers are something we really need to pay attention to this week. Welcome back everyone, MTG Moxman here. I'm your host for this week's installment of the Reserve List Top 10, and we're going to have a good time because these numbers are not the norm, and it's going to be a lot of fun talking about it. Now, before we get started, let's not forget that if you're supporting my channel, don't forget to use my TCG Player affiliate link. It is found in the description of all of my videos. Just click that link, take your experience over to TCG Player, and we get a kickback on the channel of 3.5%. Now, our number 10 card this week is from Urza's Saga. This is Gaea's Cradle. Now, it locks in the number 10 position this week with 33 sales or $27,524.64, making this a beast of a sales week for this particular card. Now, this is one of those game changer cards. It's kind of on the wanted list, but a lot of players are saying, you know what, I'm going to buy myself a copy. Now, this card, overall, it's been losing value. It's getting a little bit cheaper again. And if we take a look at month over month, you can see we've lost a little bit here. Minus 20 bucks. I mean, it's a little bit of a savings. And the copies that are selling this week are everything from moderately played, heavily played, near mint, light played, you name it. It's been selling this week. Now, of course, when we take a closer look at the Gaea's Cradle, the artwork is epic. It's iconic. Everyone understands what this card is. But when we take a closer look at the other side of it, well, you can tap to add a green mana to your mana pool for each creature you control, and with the token armies, the elves, the goblins, everything else under the sun, this thing gets to be pretty beasty pretty quick, and a lot of players have a lot of fun with it. It's a keeper for sure. Now, our number 9 card this week is Seeds of Innocence, coming to us from Mirage. Now, the number 9 card here comes in with 40 sales and a total cost of $395.20. Now, later in 2024, when we had Bloomburrow pop out, Seeds of Innocence took the front stage, going above the $20 mark, and that was because Yarga, the Eater of All, really had people wondering where this would go as a commander card. And since then, the card has been trending downward month over month until we're at where we are now. And it looks like with the announcement of Spiderman and some of the spoilers appearing, well, people are taking an interest. Some speculators are jumping back into the market, and we see some sales starting to flourish. Now, Seeds of Innocence is 2 green and 1 other, and it's a sorcery that says, bury all artifacts. Each artifact's controller gains an amount of life equal to that artifact's casting cost. Well, that's a pretty good card already, and it looks like a lot of players are saying, why not buy a few extra? But that's not our only card this week. Let's take a look at Fastbond from Revise, making a reappearance here on the top 10. It takes the number 8 position with 53 sales this week, or $1,695.47. There's been a lot of speculation about Fastbond in the last couple of years, wondering if there would be a tier where it would be unbanned and playable by players in Commander. Even though it's a casual format, this one's based, it's been banned for a long time, and a lot of players are believing that Fastbond deserves a chance. Now, this card gained a monthly changeover of $1.09, which is pretty respectable considering it's only available to be used in a couple of formats. But when we take a closer look at Fastbond, if you were unaware of this card's abilities, it's a 1 green enchantment that says you can play as many lands as you want each turn. Fastbond does 1 damage to you for every land beyond the first that you play in a single turn. It's a pretty good card, guys. And yeah, should you own one? Yes, you should. All right, guys, let's go ahead and take a look at our next card. It's Copy Artifact, making another appearance as well, locking into the position this week of number 7. And of course, Fastbond at number 8 is kind of like a new one, but Copy Artifact's been here for a while. 59 sales. This is its 4th week here in the top 10 at $5,300+, and of course it's above the $90 mark again. This card has a lot of staying power, it looks like, with players taking a renewed interest in this card from Revised. Let's not forget there are a lot of copies out there that are available, so it's not like it's going to run out anytime soon, but there has been a market push on this card, and a lot of players do use it in Commander as well as Vintage, Legacy, Casual. So there's only so many copies out there. It looks like we're having a bit of a supply chain issue right now. Now, for 1 blue and 1 other, Copy Artifact is an enchantment that, of course, comes in as a copy of any artifact in play, but it's affected by enchantments or by artifacts. It's a pretty amazing card. A lot of players, though, who are looking for it right now may want to sit on the sidelines to see what this price does. Now, our next card on the top 10 this week is Metalworker from Urza's Destiny. The Metalworker at the number 6 position had 62 sales, or $7,130 of total sales action. This is one of those cards that has popped on and off over the years into the top 10, but right now I'm surprised to see it in such a prominent position, and that's a lot of sales this week. So when we take a look closer at this card, and a lot of the interest right now seems to be in artifacts this week, and the overall sales volumes definitely demonstrate that. Now, Metalworker, of course, has a unique ability, and the fact it's been as high as $250, going all the way back down to $115 means you're saving a lot of money on a near mint copy. Imagine what you're going to save on a heavily played copy. Now, of course, Metalworker is a 3 casting cost artifact. It fits into any deck because it's generic, but most people are playing it with artifacts. It says reveal any number of artifact cards in your hand, add 2 colorless mana to your mana pool for each artifact revealed this way. In other words, it's a game-ending card. Now, for our next card, we're taking a look at Tolarian Academy from Urza's Saga. This card has an average price of $205. It locks in the number 5 position with 89 sales this week, or a total cost of $18,322.43. This, like Fastbond, is a banned card. You can't really play it in a lot of formats, but players are starting to think that maybe somewhere out there there's going to be a place for this card, and it looks like the interest has been renewed and players are gobbling up copies while they can. As you can see here, there's been an overall growth of this card, and it looks like it's going to continue into the next few weeks as the sales keep getting interest. It has a monthly change of $35.88, and that's kind of insane considering the weekly change says minus 94, right? But you know what, we're going to have to wait and see. Now, when we're taking a closer look at what this card is going to do for you if you're going to play with it, well, Tolarian Academy, by the way, great story and history and lore for Magic for this one, but it's a legendary land that says add 1 blue to your mana pool for each artifact you control. Yeah, it's amazing, and it got even worse when they add all these treasures and clues and token armies and Urza. Yeah, it doesn't make me want it any less. I'm glad I've got my 4 already. It's a great card. Now, our next one is Zirilan of the Claw. This one from Mirage comes in at $14.97 on average. It locks in number 4 this week with 97 sales. That's pretty respectable, guys. That's $1,452.09. Now, when we're looking at Zirilan, let's not forget what the card's going to do for you. We have Tarkir Dragonstorm upcoming. I'll discuss this again at the end of the video in the wrap-up section, but these kinds of sales of players, it's a lot of speculators right now, not actual sales from players. This is speculators jumping into the market. The overall change is $1.87, not a huge amount, but it's about 20%, give or take a few points there, and it's something to keep in mind that cards like this always trend down, so you don't have to worry about it selling out right now. It is going to be available. Now, the ability to go and get an Ancient Dragon and beat somebody down does give this card some validity, power level, depending on how you're going to use it, but at the same time, there's a lot of copies out there. This card will not hold its price, just wait for it. Now, our next card is Unfulfilled Desires from Mirage. It's still holding pretty good, guys. It takes the number 3 position. It's over $24. It had 109 sales. That means the total spent was $2,713.01. Now, this is one of those cards I did expect to go down a lot faster. It looks like the copies that are coming to market are holding their own and do continue to keep getting bought up, which means the overall price, the buy list, everything is kind of trending up on this card. And it looks like there's enough market demand to stop the card from collapsing back down to like $5-10. And it looks like it's going to take a lot longer for this card to trend down to that $15 level to make it more affordable for players. There just seems to be enough players interested in using this card. So, what does the card do? Well, it's 1 black, 1 blue, and 1 other. Unfulfilled Desires allows you to pay a life, draw a card, and then choose and discard a card, all for just paying 1 mana. There's a lot of infinite loops, a lot of possibilities, and players are continuing to buy the card because of that. So keep your eye out. This card won't be going down anytime soon. If you got to have it, better to buy it now. Now, our next card is from Antiquities. This is Damping Field. It has been on the list back in like 2022. It has a total sales of 126, which is $1,672. This one's kind of an interesting kind of pumped up out of nowhere, and again related to Spider-Man. So for 1 white and 2 other, this enchantment is one of those cards that players kind of think about in the past and go, why is somebody using this card? Now, the overall price being $13.27 means it's actually a very affordable reserve list card. It's not super expensive right now. Antiquities is an old set. There's not a lot of copies out there in comparison to some of the other reserve list cards. Now, the monthly change of $4.17 kind of has you wondering what's going on with the card. It's been as high as like $50-60, and it's been as low as like $1. So the card for 1 white and 2 other, which means a 3 casting cost in total, When we take a look at this enchantment, it says players may not untap more than one artifact during each of their own untap phases. So this thing's going to paralyze a lot of artifact decks if used correctly. It makes me think that Spider-Man's got some artifacts or somebody knows something because there's a lot of sales here. Now, our number one card this week is coming to us from Mirage, and that is Hivis of the Scale. This is a speculative buyout of this card. 136 sales, $775.20. I've been speaking about this card for a very long time. You could have got it for $1 just a few months ago, bought 4 copies and called it a day. You can choose not to untap him. He's great. He gains control of target dragon, so yes, there will be some chances with some dragon commander decks, but he's a sideboard at best. Some players like to keep him in his deck just because, hey, just in case you got to take control of your dragon back. It's kind of interesting, right? I've had that happen before, so I can see why you might want to have him around as a fun card, but at the same time, he will not hold his value. This card cannot stay that high. He cannot jump up and stay in the realm of like the $5-6 unless there's a lot of other reasons for him to stay that high. And since there's only one dragon deck coming out here, Tarkir, Dragon Storm, and that's it, we're going to be sitting on the sidelines with this card, watching it plummet in price in the next few months after the release of Tarkir Dragon Storm. The speculators will continue to buy this card for the foreseeable future. Now, if 5 casting costs 3-4, he's nothing to speak home about. You can choose not to untap him, gain control of target dragon, and if Hivis of the Scale becomes untapped, or you lose control of Hivis, well, you lose control of that dragon as well. Kind of interesting, kind of a neat, ability for back in the day. Didn't have a lot of uses, but it's starting to show up now late in the day because players are thinking, what can they give us in Tarkir Dragonstorm? Well, let's talk about it. Unusual should be an understatement for today's video. When we take a look, week over week, month over month, anyone who watches this channel regularly and watches these top 10 reserve list videos, we usually have low but stable numbers for a lot of cards. It could be Fork, Brain Geyser. There's just enough players always looking for these cards. You have kind of a baseline. When I see cards like Gaea's Cradle making the list and somebody spending almost 30 grand in that area, and you see Metalworker popping in there for some random reason, there's more going on than we may understand right now at the moment. Either some speculators think they have the inside track on something, or with upcoming sets like Spiderman, you have people taking renewed interest in some of the cards and saying, I think we're going to have a lot of artifacts with all this Marvel stuff. We better get ready for it, which is an explanation for Damping Field. But 100 and something sales, even if it was 50, 60 people taking an interest and they buy 1 copy, you could generate those kind of sales in a week, but it's not normal. So I think a lot of speculators are popping into the market right now, buying some of these cards cheap, which by next week, some of these new reflected sales volumes will, of course, jack up the prices a bit. But things like Tarkir Dragonstorm, when we look at that, Zirilan of the Claw makes more sense to me than Hivis of the Scale. I don't think there'll be that many people playing with Dragon Commander decks, but there'll be an interest in it, and there'll be speculators hoping to cash in on that stuff. And then, of course, we have 2 honorable mentions to discuss. These honorable mentions did not make the cut, of course, but they're in the top of my mind. Candelabra of Thanos has made the top 10 in the last couple of months, and it almost made it again. That card's expensive. And to see it jump up with 19 sales, that's pretty high for that card in a single week. Somebody bought 4 copies. I know you probably didn't. If you're one of those people that watches and you don't tell me things, you think I didn't catch that 4. I caught that. Very impressive. 2 near mint, 2 moderately played, all in one purchase. Yeah, got that one. Now, the second card, even scarier. And by the way, you notice these are all from Antiquities. We had Mishra's Workshop get 21 sales. That does not happen. Let me reiterate that. It does not happen. It's like a $2,500 card. It didn't have enough sales to make the top 10, but these cards almost made it. Not to mention a whole slew of dual lands all coming in with anywhere from between 10 and 15 sales each one. And then we also had a whole bunch of collector edition power sell. Now, I got 2 separate emails from some patrons of the channel, some regular viewers, both telling me they bought power cards. And they've started playing at some old vintage tournaments. And because these power collector edition cards are so cheap, they managed to pick a whole bunch up and actually be able to start constructing decks. Guys, this is some interesting stuff. And a lot of these people, by the way, haven't told me exactly why they're doing it other than for fun. And I don't know if it's a tax season time where we're going to start seeing some weird sales because of tax time. Even Sarah Sanctum had 30 sales again. Just nutty stuff going off right now with the interest. And I can't believe it hasn't been picked up by some of the other channels right now. But at the same time, I'm kind of happy because I let you guys get the knowledge here first about what's going on. And for anyone on my channel, okay, if you need a Seeds of Innocence or if you need a Damping Field, I believe we have a few of them here on the channel that were bought at a very low price. So if you need those cards, I will talk about it on the live stream later tonight, of course. But you can also just hit me up with an email if you see this video and you're an active patron. You'll be able to pick up these cards, okay, at the price that I paid. So I don't have the spreadsheet in front of me, but I can look that stuff up. They are very cheap. I think it's Damping Field's under $5, and I think Seeds of Innocence is around $7. I mean, it's not as cheap as, you know, nothing. It's not dirt cheap, but it's cheap enough. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, thanks again for hanging out. Thanks for being here. Interesting times ahead. I did say the reserve list was showing some unusual activity and will probably continue for a few weeks, and this appears to be part of that plan. Guys, Spider-Man has something to do with this, I'm telling you. I'll see you soon. Hey guys, a big shout out and thank you to the fantastic patrons of my channel. Because of these patrons, we get to do videos every single day. We get to talk about Magic the Gathering, and we get to take a look at some awesome, awesome Magic cards. So if you're one of my YouTube membership members, if you're one of my patrons, this shout out, it's all for you each and every day. Thanks for supporting my channel. I do look forward to seeing you guys, and we'll talk in the comment sections as well as the live stream, 6:30 Eastern Standard Time every Sunday. We'll see you then. Welcome back to the Ramble Jamble you've made today. You know what? Over here, there's an extra bed. No, I didn't put Historian on that bed. The pig takes the bed. And over here, we got some soundproofing foam and stuff, and, you know, the microphone. All right, so let's take a moment to talk about this. Number one, this is some crazy sales numbers. Okay, selling one piece of power, okay. Selling 2 or 3, yep, that can happen in a week. Not normally, but it does happen. And then when you hear about 20 sales of a Mishra's Workshop, 21, 22, 23, we're getting pretty high. Now, the question a lot of you guys might be asking, was it the same person? Is this Alpha Investments? Is this a Rudy thing? I do know that 3 of them were bought by the same person. Now, 2 of them were heavily played. 1 was lightly played. It's still thousands of dollars. But you know what? The owner asked the same question. And this person said, it hasn't been this cheap in a long time. And with the prices the way they're going, this makes more sense to me. Just an observation. Just something said. But at the same time, older players who have got a bigger bankroll may decide to go this route and get cards they've always wanted. And we do have tax time coming, so it could be a tax thing too, where you're getting refunds and stuff, and you say, you know what, I'm gonna do this anyway. Crazy stuff. Crazy to think about where this stuff is going. So that's your Ramble Jamble, brought to you by MTG Moxman. I'll see you guys soon.